Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Did John McAfee Really Die Broke? Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure you click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live calls with more than 100 celebrities for just $19.95. So give it a try. Buy a call for yourself or as a gift for somebody you know. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. There are now news reports out there speculating that John McAfee may have died broke. This is a guy who made $100 million when he sold his company, all gone, or so they claim. If that's true, then it explains an awful lot about his behavior over the last few years. The behavior we saw him demonstrate in his documentary, which was called Gringo, The Life of John McAfee, would make more sense if he was broke. The strange tweets he used to send out from time to time would make more sense. The way he would dive into high risk and controversial projects that seemed like they would have a very low probability of succeeding would make more sense if they were being done by someone who was desperate, who was broke. Now, the author who was collaborating on a book with John McAfee claims that he spent his money on large mansions and compounds in Belize, Texas, Colorado, Hawaii, and Tennessee, and that he was subsequently wiped out by the real estate collapse of 2008. The author claims that he never slept a single night in some of those mansions. He said he bought a mansion in Colorado for $25 million and subsequently sold it for $5.7 million when the market collapsed. Now, federal prosecutors in Tennessee had issued a warrant for McAfee, alleging that he had dodged tax responsibilities there and owed the state $4 million in back taxes. Now, on its surface, some people would say that investing in real estate was reasonable and safe, but it appears that John invested too much of his wealth in it, and when the market took a dump, he was really hurt by it. When people constantly repeat the cliche about diversifying your investments, it may sound like a cliche, but when you see so many people get wiped out by not diversifying, then you have to appreciate how important that cliche really is. The author's book about McAfee hasn't been released yet, but hypothetically, what he claims sounds like it could be true. When you watch the strange way he treated his employees in the documentary, some of that behavior now makes sense if he actually was broke as he claimed. It also explains why the authorities may have been pursuing him as he claimed. If he was broke, then that would explain why he was constantly fleeing from one legal jurisdiction to another, from one country to another. The next thing you have to ask yourself is, was he really broke because of his investments going bad in real estate, or was he being chased by people who really wanted to steal his cryptocurrency, as John repeated over and over? If John's cryptocurrency was stolen and he was suicided, as some people speculate, then you have to ask yourself if the authorities are attempting to track him down because of his cryptos. If they are, then perhaps finding out who has them now, his cryptos, could provide more light on what really happened to John in his suspicious death. Law enforcement recently said that they have been able to track down and recover some of the stolen Bitcoin in a recent high-profile ransomware hack. If they do possess this capability, then perhaps they can track down some of McAfee's Bitcoin. We saw a picture of John's home in Belize recently with a for sale sign in front of it. Now, if you look at the house, it looks really run down. It looks like a disaster. Normally, if you're trying to sell your home, you clean it up and make it look presentable. So you have to ask yourself, why wasn't John doing that with this home if he was trying to sell it? From the photo, it looks run down, really run down, paint peeling. It looks like a mess. Normally, if you're trying to sell your home, you clean it up, you make it presentable so that you can entice potential buyers. Why wasn't John making his home presentable to prospective buyers? Once again, if he was truly broke and he couldn't afford to have it cleaned up or made presentable, then that would make sense. The expression to be suicide means to be killed and then to have your death staged like a suicide by whoever killed you. You see it all the time in movies and you read about it in stories. If McAfee was suicided, then you have to ask yourself why that would have been done to him and why in Spain. If it's true that somebody was pursuing him for his crypto, then that would provide them with a motive. Another possibility might be that John may have just said the wrong thing to the wrong person while in prison. People are always being killed in prison for that sort of thing. Sometimes other prisoners try to extort them, and when they don't pay, they're often beaten or killed. If somebody was trying to extort or blackmail John because they thought he might be super rich and it turned out that he wasn't, and he couldn't afford to pay them anything at all, then it's possible things took a violent turn for the worse in prison. One of the things that he alleged in the documentary about McAfee is that he surrounded himself with a lot of criminals in Belize and other places he traveled to. If that's the case, then that opens up the possibility on another level, and that is that if John was not able to pay his criminal employees at some point, well, sometimes guys like that will take things into their own hands. Just days before John was found dead, he tweeted that he had no crypto left. Now, he may have said that for a few different reasons. Perhaps he was genuinely broke, or maybe he was trying to discourage potential extortionists from pursuing him, or maybe he was trying to get tax collectors off his back. Whatever the reason for the tweet, we may need to wait until the book comes out to find out more about what was really going on with him. The problem is with a guy like McAfee, you can never really be sure what was true and what was just more hyperbole or an outright lie. Thank you for watching, and I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews coming up and more breaking news stories. So remember to subscribe to our channel for free and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you, and we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.